Today's 81st daily comprehension lessons on learning. I'm learning how to support your dreams, your goals, and how to become the person that you want to become. Today, speak about perseverance. Perseverance. What are the people who are persistent do differently than people who do not have perseverance whatsoever? Perseverance is one of the things that is very, very important, because if you want to achieve great things in life, we need to have perseverance. We need to have a mindset of, I will do this until I will get results. Until. And you potentially, of course, you're able to say that, I'm not able to do that yet. And it's very powerful to say that yet at the end. Because if you're not yet, that means that you are still working to become that person that is able to achieve some things. So yet and until is one of the words that really allows you to show that you are perseverant. You are able to be persistent and you have perseverance in you. So today we'll share 10 things that persistent people do. How they include perseverance in their life. And of course, what people who do not perseverance, what they do as well. So number one is set clear goals. Set clear goals. It means, again, it's very hard to be persistent on something that you have no idea what you're pursuing. Now, I understand that process is important. I understand that we need to understand that, okay, we have clear goals, and then we are persistent on process, on the actions. We persistent on actions. But it's very, very hard to be persistent without knowing what you're pushing for. So having that vision, having that clear goals, clarity is very important. Because persistence, it will be much easier to pursue when you know your why, when you know your reasons, when you know what is the reason behind that. Because when you know your reason, it's much, much easier to be persistent. So people who are persistent, and where people who use perseverance in their life, of course, they have established clear and long-term goals. The most important long-term goals, because at the same time, they have those clear plans, detailed plans to actually achieve those goals. While people who weaken perseverance, a lot of times they have no goals or have some kind of process that they do, but a lot of times you can run every single day, but you will not become a running athlete because you just don't have any goals in place and not have improvements, progress, measurements. There are so many things that they are very inconsistent and lack direction. So direction is very, very important with persistence and perseverance. Second is stay committed. People who are persistent is they committed to their goals, not interested. Because people who are interested in pursuing things, they do things only when it's convenient. But people who are persistent, they do things because they're committed, they're determined. They find those adjectives that shows that you are here until things will be done. So commitment is very, very important to their goals. Commitment to their goals. Committed to the vision. And despite difficulties, besides obstacles and setbacks, because every single goal will have setbacks, big or small, will have. And perseverance allows to overcome those. That's why commitment is very, very important. While people who do not have perseverance, they abandon their goals quite easily. A small setback, small obstacle, this is not for me, I'm out. And of course, that shows that the challenges, obstacles is not for people who do not have perseverance. Number three is overcome obstacles. Overcome obstacles. So people who have perseverance, they overcome obstacles easily because they're able to persist, they're able to go through the things. And again, partly is commitment. You're committed and you are persistent, making sure that you really see obstacles and challenges as opportunities for growth. And that's what persistent people are able to do. They're able to see, okay, this obstacle, what am I able to learn from this obstacle? What am I able to learn from this problem? Because problem solving is a skill. Decision making is a skill. Solution awareness is a skill. So that means that every single obstacle could really develop your skill set. And when persistent people are able to look into opportunity to grow when they see obstacle. While people who are weak in perseverance, they really avoid at all cost all the obstacles, all the setbacks, because they're afraid, because they will not be able to persist, they will able to quit. So they know themselves and they quit. They quit on themselves. And of course, at the same time, on goals. Number 4 is maintain focus. Maintain focus. This is very, very important because a lot of times people are starting, stopping, and then that's why people do not get results, because one of the biggest things that helps people to achieve massive results is momentum or compound effect. Momentum or compound effect. So that means that if you start and stop, you'll never reach momentum and you never get the compound effect. Or if you reach that compound effect will be not as big as it could be. So that means that people who have a lot of perseverance, they are able to really maintain that focus. They know that this is my goal, this is my clear goal, and this is what I'm doing every single day to cut that tree, to cut that tree faster. And I think that is very, very important, because people who have perseverance avoid distractions. And that's probably the biggest thing, because staying on course and go to the direction, because people who do not have perseverance, they are distracted and they go to one direction, second direction, third direction, and because they go into all directions, sometimes they stay in exactly the same spot because they are spread too thin. And if you're going 2 steps one way, 2 steps other way, where are you at? You're exactly the same spot. But if you go 4 steps to one direction, you're already so far away from where you started. It's very, very important to really stay focused, and perseverant people are able to really not be looking after like shiny objects, but really moving to the direction that they decide to go after. Number 5 is practice self-discipline. Perseverant people understand how powerful self-discipline, because even there's a beautiful saying that when motivation wanes off, self-discipline must kick in. So it means that we understand that motivation, that you start some new journey, will be massive motivation. You will be excited about that journey. But when you move to the journey, when you see some obstacles, you see some challenges, the motivation starts to really getting smaller and smaller, and you understand that self-discipline will need to show up in our lives sooner or later. And people who have self-discipline, they're able to persevere a long, long time when motivation is apparent, because at the end of the day, we will achieve our goals not based on motivation, but based off self-discipline. And that's why perseverant people are always developing self-discipline. They always really looking into what kind of routines and habits they're able to really put, just to make sure that they're able to do it no matter how they feel, no matter where the motivation is. And a lot of times, you don't need to have self-discipline if you know exactly what routines you need to do, because you do it every single day. While people who are weak in perseverance, they don't have self-discipline whatsoever. They don't have routines, they don't have process. They just wing it with the feeling of their day. And that's why they are not able to sustain. And a lot of times they are distracted by short-term desires and distractions. Number 6 is adapt and adjust. Perseverant people adapt and adjust, because in life, everything will change. You are changing, and life, external things are changing. So that means that perseverant people understand that sometimes change will be brought onto us. Change will be brought onto you. And we will need to adjust that. We need to adapt. And it said, I will work to this goal until I'll get what I want. That means that it might be that there are external things that will show up to really distract you. But if you're able to adjust, if you're able to adapt, those external things will not influence your direction. It will not influence the way how you take actions. It will not influence your emotions and attitude towards that big goal. And we need to understand that we will need to learn from those failures, because a lot of times those adjust and adapt and adjust is that it might be that you will fail at something, and they'll say, okay, I failed. Now I need to adjust, adapt, and take a different kind of path to achieve my goal, achieve my vision. So there's the different things that we'll need to adapt and adjust forwards to. While people who are weak in perseverance, they resist change. They approach that to say, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn from experience. I just better do the same thing over and over again, and I will be in my comfort zone. Number 7 is seek continuous improvement. Seek continuous improvement. And this is very, very important. So perseverant people are always looking at how I'm able to improve, how I'm able to measure my improvement, how I'm able to really get better, and this is what I'm doing right now. So it means that if they're able to do one thing in 10 hours, maybe they're able to do something to do that in 8 hours, maybe able to do it in 5 hours. So it means if they're doing already good, maybe they're able to become great. And that is probably one of the hardest things to do, because it's easy to change something when something is not working or is bad. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do to change something good. Because you need to change good for great. And that's why I think that people who are great in perseverance are able to understand that, okay, I want to persevere. I want to make this happen. I want to really achieve the best results. And I'm willing to persevere, pushing through the things that is good to make sure that I'm able to become great. While people who are weak in perseverance, they settle for mediocrity and really avoid any effort for continuous improvement, and that's a lot of times slows them down, and that's why they're not able to persevere, because external things will make them quit. Number 8 is stay positive and optimistic. Stay positive and optimistic. Now, I understand that optimism and positivity is very, very important, and sometimes people are afraid of that because they say toxic positivity, and we need to understand what toxic positivity means. Toxic positivity is really sitting in one spot and hoping that things will change. That is toxic positivity, I agree with that. But if you take action, improving yourself, getting better, every single day you execute, at that moment you're more than enough to have a positive attitude. You have an optimistic attitude because you take action. I think that is a very big thing we need to understand, that when you take action, you need to celebrate your actions. Appreciate your actions, because what you appreciate. If you appreciate your actions, you will get more of it. And while people who are weak in perseverance, they don't have an optimistic view. They don't have a positive view. They say sometimes, I'm realistic. Because a few people are thinking about they are negative people. Most of the time, negative people are fall under realistic cap. And of course, at the same time, because of that, they have a lot of self-doubts, which a lot of times undermine their efforts because they just don't believe that everything will happen. Number 9 is use failure as a learning tool. This is, again, one of the biggest lessons I think that we need to learn, that failure teaches you much more than success will do. Failure is teaching you much more than success will do. So it means that we need to understand that if you want to persevere, you need to learn from those failures. So it means when you see failure as a learning opportunity, you are grateful for that failure because you learn so much and you're able to persevere. That means that you failed, you learn from it, you appreciate the failure. It's very easy to persevere when you see the positivity of that failure. But when you see that failure is something is bad, that diminishes your identity, because that's what a lot of times people who are weak in perseverance, they see failure as definitive or maybe part of identity. I'm a failure. And I think that when we understand that failure is just behavior, that we're able to adjust, pivot, learn, and of course that's able to persevere much more. And number 10 is seek support and feedback. One of the best shortcuts in life is, again, feedback. Feedback. That means you do something, you ask for feedback. You do something, ask for feedback, ask for support. And people who are able to persevere, they're able to ask support. They're able to ask for feedback. They're able to understand that I will ask advice from a person who have already done what I want, or I will ask advice how to overcome. Maybe I'm not able to see the perspective, and other people are above will see much more and share what they see, so I could really get better actions, and better actions will bring me better results. So it's very, very important. Persevering people always looking to get support and feedback, and it's a strength that persevering people have. While people who are weak in perseverance, they avoid seeking for help. They avoid seeking for feedback because they're afraid of judgment. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of anything, and then a lot of times they're afraid, and that's why they isolate themselves and at the same time lose motivation. But when you get feedback, when you get support, you get more motivation, you get more inspiration, you got more aspiration to really make things happen and persevere. So I hope that you will reflect as well, how persistent are you right now? Because persistence is one of the things that will dictate how much you can go. Because yesterday I shared that courage is one of the things that really allows you to start the journey. But when you start a journey, the next thing is you need to be persistent at the journey to make sure that you finish the journey. So first one, the courage is the foundational thing. So you need to start a journey. If you don't start a journey, you never finish a journey. And second thing is you need to persist on their journey to really move to that that finish line, to that vision, to that goal. So I hope that you will really reflect where you are and start developing, because persistence is one of the things as well that could be developed. So I hope you choose win, and see you tomorrow.